I'm in GT, my brother is Broly. Chapter 131 Test Quiz, Broly's Big Breakthrough. Although I already know that what I have accomplished is a sign of freedom, but Bbook doesn't show stupidly, and still pretends to be ignorant. After all, the gap between the two sides is really too big. If he looks like he understands everything, I am afraid that Callis will not be able to help but be suspicious. You know, if the strength of gods of destruction Beerus in Dragon Ball is 10, then Vados and Whis, who are angels, have about 15 strength. As a fallen angel, Callis may not be as powerful as top angels like Whis and Vados, but she is at least 12 or above. So, unless the strength surpasses Callis, Bbook must continue to pretend not to understand. Only in this way, Callis will continue to use him to complete things, and he can take this opportunity to exchange for the opportunity to grow, and even use the power of Callis to go to Dragon Ball Super Master Universe. What you have accomplished is a sign of freedom. Looking at Bbook, Callis said with a surprised expression, this is just the entry stage of Ultra Instinct. But there is no denying that you have now successfully mastered it. 35. That way, it will be a lot easier for you to do a real Ultra Instinct in the future. I see. Nodding as if suddenly realized, Bbook said immediately, doesn't that mean that I will be able to complete the real Ultra Instinct soon? Miskers, does that mean that I will have the ability to go to the main world right away? After speaking, Bbook stared straight at Callis. This sentence is his temptation, and his current strength is not even as good as Jiaosei God. Even if you have the omen of freedom, but to die is to fight the super race god Son Goku. If Callis can't wait to let him go to the main world now, it means that the latter has bad intentions. No, you're still too weak. Unexpectedly, Callis said indifferently at the moment, your limit of combat power is around Beijing. Only when your combat power reaches the level of Z can you be qualified to go to the main world, and have the ability to protect yourself and complete the task. The power of the main world is not what you can imagine, the power rules of the 20th order. You are currently in the 5th order at most. 20 order power rules, 5th tier. Hearing this, Bbook's eyes flashed. Callis's words undoubtedly confirmed his previous inference, but it surprised him. The highest power limit in the main universe is actually 20. Angel's highest combat power should be around 16, and if it goes up, it should be Grand Priest, or even Xeno's power. Thinking of this, Bbook only felt his blood surging. The 20th order power rule, if you can reach this level, can you match Xeno? Thinking of this, Bbook said immediately, Miskers, I would like to ask you to give more advice. Nodding her head, Callis said indifferently, go and rest first. After completing the omen of freedom, you need a period of time to adapt to continue to improve Ultra Instinct. Good. 35. Hearing this, Bbook also nodded. He really needs to digest this promotion, and after being abused by Callis for so long, he also needs to take a breath. He doesn't have any special hobbies, and he doesn't like the feeling that he can't help each other, especially when dealing with a woman. Thinking of this, Bbook didn't hesitate, turned around and walked away from Callis's residence. Interesting guy. In an instant, the increase in combat power is nearly half, and the secret on this guy is really tempting. Watching Bbook leave, Callis stood in the room thoughtfully. She could clearly feel Bbook's previous improvement, and it was precisely because of that sudden improvement that Bbook was able to complete the omen of freedom. Immediately afterwards, Callis seemed to have thought of something, waved the scepter in her hand, looked at a gem embedded in it, and murmured, come on. Come on. 35. Wait, Callis, will be back. 35. At that time, all of you will have to submit to my feet. For all this, Bbook does not know. At this moment, he has come to the laboratory. It can be seen that on the 21st, Bulma and Lazuli are busy in it. Looking around, there are artificial Saiyans that have just been born floating in the densely packed vessels. These artificial Saiyans have not yet woken up, but each of them also exudes a strong blood aura. Ding. Detect bindable characters, whether they are bound. 99. The system prompt sounded quietly at this moment. Bind. 39. Without hesitation, Bbook agreed without hesitation. The next second, Bbook only felt a flower in front of him, and then a message appeared on each vessel, loyalty, 100. It's all 100% loyal. Seeing this, Bbook was overjoyed. This also means that the experiment of the 3 boomers is a real success. And under such circumstances, as long as these artificial Saiyans start to cultivate, then Bbook's strength can be continuously improved. Thinking of this, Bbook smiled even more, stepped forward and said, Bulma, Lazuli, number 21, thank you for your hard work. 99. Bbook. Seeing Bbook's arrival, the 3 of them were overjoyed. After looking at each other, the 3 women put down the items in their hands and quickly stepped forward. Ding. The combat power of the bound character Broly has increased by 500 billion, triggering a tenfold return. Congratulations to the host for increasing the combat power by 5 trillion. On this day, Bbook had just finished communicating, and the system's prompt sounded again. In the next second, Bbook could clearly feel the increase in his own strength, from the original 11.8 trillion to 16.8 trillion. It's done. Opening his eyes, Bbook's eyes flashed, and he murmured, in 10 days, He has increased his combat power by 500 billion. This time Broly didn't let me down. With more than 500 billion combat power, combined with the transformation of the Super Bloodline and Kaioken, Broly's power has also reached the stage of Beijing. While talking, Bappa got up from the bed, looked at the three girls who were still sleeping, and immediately didn't bother, turned around and walked out. After leaving the lab, Bappa was about to launch instant transmission to find Broly. The time house practice is over, and it's time to bring Broly to the Supreme Kai world. As long as the potential of the old Supreme Kai is developed, he believes that Broly's strength can also soar a lot. Chapter 132 The strongest artificial Saiyan is born. Master Bappa. However, just as Bappa was preparing to act, a cry followed. Looking at the sound, I can see the figure of Lapis coming in a hurry. Soon, Lapis arrived at the area where Bappa was, bowed and said, Master Bappa, just heard from Dr. Mayu that his artificial Saiyan has also been completed. With a flash of light in his eyes, Bappa's breathing was three-pointed in an instant. Dr. Mayu's artificial Saiyan has also been completed, which is a real surprise. You know, Boomer and the artificial Saiyan on the 21st have already given him a huge surprise. So what kind of artificial Saiyan will Dr. Mayu create after he has completed baby, super number 17? Thinking of this, Bappa said immediately, Lapis, show me now. Yes, 35. With a promise, Lapis did not dare to neglect, and immediately turned around and went with Bappa. That's right, Lapis. While walking, Bappa glanced at Lapis and thoughtfully, you should have devoured that Super 17, right? How do you feel? Bappa's eyes were fixed on Lapis. His eyes were full of puzzlement. After all, in his opinion, the Super number 17 has 880 billion combat power, but Lapis only increased the mere 30 billion combat power after swallowing it, which is obviously unscientific. 100. Lord Bappa, I haven't completely devoured it yet. Hearing this, Lapis shook his head and replied, now what I have is only about 1/10 of the power of super number 17. If you want to improve the remaining power, you must upgrade yourself. Dr. Mayu has already built what I need to upgrade, and if it weren't for the artificial Saiyan being done ahead of time, I should be finishing the final upgrade by now. 5. I see. After hearing this, Bappa suddenly became enlightened. No wonder the 30 billion combat power was only increased before, and the authorship devoured 1/10 of the super number 17's power. And listening to his words, Dr. Mayu will be able to help him perfect himself right away, and completely devour the super number 17. In this way, Narapus is likely to increase the combat power of at least 800 billion at that time. Thinking of this, Bappa's breathing became rapid, and he didn't even bother to go to Earth to find Broly. 800 billion combat power increase. Once Lapis is completed, Bappa will be able to increase his combat power by about 8 trillion again with a tenfold return. Thinking of this, Bappa couldn't wait to say, then let's speed up. After watching the artificial Saiyan, I want to see how much you have improved after you perfected yourself. While speaking, Bappa and Lapis soon arrived at Laboratory 7. When you enter it, you can see that the entire laboratory is messy, and there is no clean and tidy studio of the three girls of Bummer. But because of this, Bappa has more confidence in Dr. Mayu. This is the atmosphere that scientists should have. Only those who put everything into research can have such a working environment without being moved. Dr. Mayu. At this time, Lapis stepped forward and shouted, Lord Bappa is here. Bang tilde. The sound of the machine falling to the ground resounded, and Dr. Mayu could be seen walking out from behind a vessel not far away. After seeing Bappa, Dr. Mayu's eyes suddenly showed a hint of excitement, and he stepped forward and said, Lord Bappa, you are finally here. I have successfully created the strongest artificial Saiyan, and I also invite Mr. Bappa to taste it. Saying that, Dr. Mayu didn't care about etiquette, and excitedly walked towards the vessel covered by black cloth not far away. Oh, the strongest man-made Saiyan. Then I'm really looking forward to it. Seeing this, Bappa's eyes flashed, and he stepped forward immediately, full of curiosity in his heart. Da. The sound of footsteps resounded, and the three Bappa quickly arrived at the vessel covered by the black cloth. As Dr. Mayu stretched out his hand and tore off the black cloth, a 3-meter-tall figure with bulging muscles and looking extremely strong appeared in it. This artificial Saiyan looks similar to Broly in a state of rage, with grass-green hair, azure blue eyes, and the number 1 written on his arms. However, this existence similar in appearance to Broly does not have a tail, and Bappa can vaguely see the technical traces of the infinite energy furnace from its body. Dr. Mayu, is this the strongest artificial Saiyan you've ever built? Opening his mouth, Bappa was a little disappointed to be honest. Although the artificial Saiyan in front of him is directly an adult state, this is definitely not the strongest artificial Saiyan in Bappa's mind. If it is only by virtue of the infinite energy furnace technology, the maximum is a little stronger than the artificial Saiyan of number 21, but it is completely impossible to match the potential of the artificial Saiyan created by Bulma. Not bad. 55. However, Dr. Mayu didn't notice Bappa's disappointment at the moment. Instead he said excitedly, Master Bappa, this most powerful artificial Saiyan was created by me mainly from the cells of Lord Broly. 95. But on him, I joined the strongest living body technology and artificial human technology. This also led to my strongest artificial Saiyan having Lord Broly's rage state and super transmission mode, in addition to the artificial human's infinite energy furnace. The most important thing is, in order to ensure the loyalty issue, I also learned the skills of Miss Boomer and Miss Number 21, so that his core is full of loyalty to adults and never betrays you, and has a certain degree of wisdom, similar to 16 the idea of peace. Hiss. After listening to Dr. Mayu's words, Bappa's eyes widened and he said in disbelief, "It's just anger and super mode." At this moment, Bappa was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a failed product, but I didn't expect it to be the strongest artificial Saiyan. Thinking of this, Bappa didn't care about Dr. Mayu who was still talking about it, and immediately said, "System, check his information." The next second, the information of the strongest man-made Saiyan in front of him appeared. Number 1, Race, Artificial Saiyan, Blood, Artificial Super Blood, Combat Power, 0, Transformation, Permanent Anger State, Permanent Super Transmission Mode, Ability, Kamemiya Wave, Intermediate Regeneration, Intellectual Brain, Loyalty, 100. Ding. Check the bindable target and whether the host is bound. Bind. Without the slightest hesitation, Bappa bound the artificial Saiyan in front of him without hesitation. Immediately afterwards, Bappa turned his gaze to Dr. Mayu and said, "Dr. Mayu, 2 questions. 99. First, why is the power of the strongest artificial Saiyan 0? Second, can this strongest artificial Saiyan be mass-produced?" Chapter 133 The Final Evolution of Lapis, Super Saiyan Lightning Form. After speaking, Bappa stared directly at Dr. Mayu. If these 2 problems are solved, then the strongest man-made Saiyan in front of him is really the absolute main force of the Justice League. Even once mass production is completed, Bappa's combat power will skyrocket like a rocket. Can be mass-produced. Faced with the question, Dr. Mayu didn't hesitate, and quickly answered, "Master Bappa, my experiment can also be mass-produced. However, Lord Broly's blood cells are already deficient. Of course, it would be better if there were Lord Bappa's blood cells really mass-produced." "That is really good." Overjoyed in his heart, Bappa said without hesitation, "No problem!" I'll get you some blood samples in a moment. Broly, I'll bring him back soon. You don't need to worry about the blood sample. 55. Hearing this, Dr. Mayu also smiled. With Bappa's words, it means that his research will continue. Even he has successfully proved his own ability, which is definitely not inferior to Boomer, Number 21 and others. Thinking of this, Dr. Mayu continued, "As for the issue of the man-made Saiyan's combat power, it was intentional. If I directly build it into combat power in the form of an artificial human, it will lose the upper limit, and the only hope is to devour each other and become stronger." 35. But this is obviously an insult to Saiyan, the strongest man-made man, so I chose to make him stronger through his own training mode. At the same time, once he is awakened, he will completely activate the supernatural power in his body, and within a short period of time, the combat power will at least reach hundreds of millions, or even tens of billions. Afterwards, his cultivation talent is not inferior to that of Lord Broly. They will definitely become stronger as soon as possible, even surpassing all artificial Saiyans. I see. After listening to Dr. Mayu's remarks, Bappa glanced at him with admiration and praised, as expected of the strongest artificial Saiyan. 5. Dr. Mayu, your scientific research ability is really the first level in the universe. 9. Thank you Bappa-sama for your praise. Hearing this, Dr. Mayu was overjoyed, and the smile on his face became even more intense. Ding. The loyalty of the bound character Dr. Mayu has increased to 90, triggering 10 times the return ability. 99. It's done. Hearing the system beep, Bappa smiled. Dr. Mayu does not know how to cultivate, so he cannot improve his combat power. But now he has become his own diehard, which means that he will become the first scientist in the true sense under his command in the future. Thinking of this, Bappa immediately said, "Dr. Mayu, how can I wake him up?" Saying that, Bappa pointed to Number 1, his eyes full of heat and anticipation. "It will take a while." Hearing this, Dr. Mayu responded quickly, "Master Bappa, although the data of Number 1 is perfect, there are still some deficiencies." 35. I plan to continue to give him one last life, when he should be able to completely awaken the characteristics of the strongest life form, and have the resilience of an almost immortal body. Near immortal resilience. Isn't that the advanced regeneration ability I got? With a flash of light in his eyes, Bappa looked a little excited. If Dr. Mayu really does this, the strongest artificial Saiyan he has created will hardly be killed in the future. As a result, the strongest artificial Saiyan may even surpass the real Saiyan in a sense. It is good. After regaining his senses, Bappa immediately praised, "It's all according to Dr. Mayu's ideas." Don't worry about the upgrade of the strongest artificial Saiyan, Dr. Mayu. Please help Lapis to improve himself now. Although the matter of the strongest man-made Saiyan is important, it is not in a hurry. But the problem of Lapis must be solved as soon as possible, not only for the improvement of combat power. Most importantly, Bubba wants to prevent any possibility of a backlash from the Super 17. Now that Lapis has not completely swallowed it, it is a time bomb, and this threat must be completely solved. Yes, with a promise, Dr. Mayu turned to look at Lapis and said, I have already figured out your situation. Come with me. As long as I completely combine the program in Super 17's body with you, then you can completely devour it. Although Grin's ability is poor, he is also doing a better job in preventing being swallowed. 35. Zero ask for flowers 0. Tired. Hearing this, Lapis clenched his fists towards Dr. Mayu. Immediately afterwards, without hesitation, he walked directly to a console not far away. Immediately afterwards, Dr. Mayu attached countless data cables to the area around Lapis. With the beating of the computer, countless programs will start running quickly. Under such circumstances, a faint green glow began to burst out from Lapis' body above the console. With the passage of time, Lapis's chi also began to increase continuously. Ding ding ding. At this time, the computer suddenly rang. It can be seen that the last procedure was written into Lapis' body at this moment. 0.00. Add. In the next second, Lapis on the console suddenly sat up. Immediately afterwards, Lapis's chi began to soar rapidly. 100 billion, 300 billion, 500 billion, 900 billion. When it reached the level of 900 billion, Lapis's chi stopped growing. But vaguely, it can be seen that there is a faint golden light beating around Lapis, and there are faint lightnings entwining each other. That is, seeing this, Bubba's pupils shrank, his eyes showed a hint of horror, and he said quickly, System, check Lapis information. The next second, the Lapis message appeared in front of Bubba's eyes. Lapis, race, android, bloodline, Saiyan bloodline, frozen demon bloodline, Namek bloodline, combat power, 900 billion, transformation, super race lightning form, ability, infinite energy furnace, prediction, primary regeneration, loyalty, 98. Sure enough, the Saiyan cells in his body were completely activated. 35. After reading Lapis's message, Bubba swallowed, and his eyes were obviously hot at this moment. The combination of the Super Saiyan transformation and the lightning form transformation is definitely not weak. Needless to say, the transformation of Super Saiyan has increased the combat power by 50 times, and the improvement of the lightning form is not inferior to that of Super Saiyan 2. Lapis's Super Ace lightning form can at least increase his combat power by 100 times, or even higher. Level 7. Chapter 134. Entrusted with the important task of Lapis, Broly leaves the customs. Add. Ding. The bound character Lapis has increased his combat power by 865 billion to trigger a tenfold return. Congratulations to the host for increasing his combat power by 8.6 trillion. The system beeps loudly. Bubba only felt a shock all over his body, and then the chi in his body soared rapidly, directly reaching 25.4 trillion. Good. Feeling the increase in strength in his body, Bubba looked overjoyed. Lapis problem solved. His combat power has increased a lot again. Next, just let Son Goku and Broly complete the potential development, then his combat power can be improved again. In addition, he can also allow the old Supreme Kai to develop his own potential, which is bound to reach a stronger point by then. The most important thing is that he has now completed the Super 3 transformation form, which means that he can completely transform into the Super 4 form. You must know that Super 4 is stronger than Super Saiyan and has changed into a 100 form. At that time, his strength should be able to increase sharply again, and he may even be eligible to go to the main world. Thinking of this, Bubba's breathing quickened. Main world, Super Ace God, and those gods of destruction, Angel. These are the existences in the original work, and he also wants to see the style of the Master Universe. As soon as he thought of this, Bubba said immediately, Lapis, congratulations on completing your own evolution. Thank you, Lord Bubba. Hearing this, Lapis also regained his senses at the moment, and clasped his fists at Bubba with a look of gratitude in his eyes. He could feel himself getting stronger. I can clearly feel the power of the Super Ace lightning mode. It can be said that if Bubba hadn't brought back Dr. Mayu and Super 17, he would never have reached this point. It doesn't have to be. Add. Waving his hand, Bubba said indifferently, since your matter has been resolved, then I should also leave. Lapis, you are responsible for keeping the entire new Vegeta safe while I'm away. Yes. With a promise, Lapis answered decisively at this moment. With great power comes great responsibility. The current strength of otherness even surpasses Son Goku and others, and is naturally qualified to protect the entire new Vegeta star. Immediately, Bubba didn't stay any longer. After saying hello to Dr. Mayu, Bubba immediately launched instant transmission to leave Star New Vegeta. At the same time, Lapis no longer hesitated, turned around and left the laboratory. Earth, heaven. Click. The door of the time house opened, and Broly stepped out of it. Broly, seeing this situation, Piccolo's eyes showed a hint of horror, and he didn't dare to neglect and walked forward. Congratulations, you have completed your cultivation. Hearing this, Broly glanced at Piccolo and said, this retreat has really gained a lot. 5. If I encounter that super evil thought wave, then I am absolutely sure that I can kill it. Piccolo, isn't my eldest brother here? Hearing this, Piccolo shook his head and said immediately, "Not yet, Zizzy." Before Piccolo could finish speaking, a space shook, and Bappa's figure immediately appeared in the area of the arena. Big brother. Seeing Bappa appear, Broly immediately looked overjoyed, stepped forward and said, "Brother, have you learned instant transmission?" Not only him, but also Piccolo looked at Bappa in surprise. Instant transmission. That's one of Son Goku's stunts. And looking at Bappa's situation, his instant transmission seems stronger than Son Goku's. Good. Nodding, Bappa said indifferently, "I have learned instant transmission from Supreme Kai. Broly, this is a good break." 99. Having said that, Bappa directly called up Broly's personal information to check. Broly, race, Saiyan, bloodline, medium passage, combat power, 503 billion. Transformation, anger, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Quint Super Mode, Quint Super 2. Abilities, Final Flash, Prince Tactics, Kaioken. Super 3, Broly's Super 3 form is complete. After reading Broly's message, Bappa's eyes flashed, and his breathing instantly became three-pointed. Broly has completed the Super 3 form, which means that he can also carry out the Super 4 transformation. Although not Super 4, but as long as he takes the lead in completing the Super 4 transformation, he will be able to complete the Super 3 or even Super 4 form as soon as possible after giving him a certain amount of time. "Thank you, bro." At this time, Broly clasped his fists in a salute and said gratefully, "If Big Brother hadn't let me enter the time house to practice, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to reach such a level in such a short period of time. 0. Now I can definitely defeat that super evil thought wave, but unfortunately he has completely died, otherwise, I will definitely make him look good." 99. Hearing this, Bappa smiled slightly, reached out and patted Broly's shoulder and said, "It doesn't have to be this way, our opponents will only be stronger in the future." It's just a super evil thought wave, it's not a very powerful existence. After a while, if you are strong enough, then I will take you to see the existence with stronger knowledge. Broly's ascension was unexpected for Bappa. Although the basic combat power may be a little worse, once it completes the transformation of the Super 4 forms, it is indeed qualified to follow him to the main universe. Most importantly, he thought of the Super Shenron within the main universe. If you can use the power of Super Shenron to evolve Broly's bloodline into a superior super bloodline, at that time, Broly's strength is bound to soar greatly. According to the description of the original book, the bloodline of the new version of Broly is the strongest, and it can almost increase the combat power by about 1 trillion every year. You must know that although Bappa and Broly's medium-level super bloodline can also become stronger every year, it is only an improvement in units of 100 million. Really? 95. Hearing this, Broly was excited, looked at Bappa and said, "Big brother, is there really an opponent that is not inferior to me?" Not only him, but also Piccolo got nervous. 0.7 Bappa's indifference, Broly's excitement, but for him it is worry. After all, Broly is already so terrifying. If there is an existence that is not inferior to him in universe, the consequences are absolutely unimaginable. Not bad. 99. In response, Bappa nodded firmly and said, "But your current strength is still too weak. Come on, I'll take you inside the Supreme Kai world." Now the old Supreme Kai should be developing his potential for Son Goku, and when it's over, it's up to you. Old Supreme Kai, unleash your potential. Hearing this, Broly was a little puzzled, but he didn't refute anything, and stepped forward. Then brother, let's go now. Hearing this, Bappa didn't hesitate. After saying hello to Piccolo, he took Broly to the Supreme Kai world with instant transmission. Chapter 135 Son Gohan vs Broly, Super 3 vs Super 3. Supreme Kai world. Arrive with Bappa and Broly. It can be seen that the old Supreme Kai has begun to develop potential for Son Goku. As the strange dance steps of the old Supreme Kai continued, it was faintly visible that the power of Son Goku began to be pulled. Uncle Bappa, Mr. Bappa. At this time, Son Gohan, Dong Supreme Kai quickly stepped forward. Great respect for both Bappa, especially the East Supreme Kai. He has been acquainted with Son Gohan for a while, and learned from his mouth that Bappa intends to create the Justice League to protect the peace of universe. This is simply the sound of nature for Dong Supreme Kai. It is something that cannot be accomplished by the existence of Supreme Kai, but the other party can do it with confidence. Thinking of the existence of the Justice League in the universe in the future, the entire universe will be free from danger and evil. Wouldn't it be easier to be Supreme Kai? What? Son Gohan, how did your Kai rise so much? Before Bappa could speak, Broly on the side stared straight at Son Gohan, his eyes full of incredible colors. He could feel that Son Gohan was no less angry than himself at the moment. If it was 10 days ago, Broly didn't care. After all, his basic combat power was not as high as Son Gohan's at that time. But he has been practicing in the time house for a full 10 years now, and it stands to reason that he has already surpassed Son Gohan by a lot. But what about now? Broly couldn't believe that Son Gohan's power was not much inferior to his own. Uncle Broly. Hearing this, Son Gohan didn't hide it either, and said quickly, "This is the power that old Supreme Kai developed for me after developing my potential." 5. But Uncle Broly, your strength is strong, and your chi is stronger than mine. That's natural. Hearing this, Broly said without hesitation, I have practiced in that time house for a full 10 years. 35 Son Gohan, since your power has increased so much, how about we try it? With that said, Broly was already eager to try. Is it okay? Hearing this, Son Gohan was also quite excited. However, he did not agree, but looked at Bupper and Supreme Kai. After all, this is the Supreme Kai world, not the rest. Can. In response, Bupper nodded, glanced at Son Gohan and Broly and said, well, you two come with me. I'm looking for an uninhabited planet for you to fight with all your might. Right now Son Goku is developing his potential, and if you fight in the Supreme Kai world it's easy to influence him. It is good. Good. 39 Hearing this, Broly and Son Gohan nodded without hesitation. They are all eager to try their own limits, and naturally they will not hesitate. Immediately, Bupper stepped forward and grabbed the shoulders of Broly and Son Gohan, and found an uninhabited planet instant and transmitted to the past. On an uninhabited planet, the three figures of Bupper appeared. After floating to the ground, Bupper glanced at Broly and Son Gohan and said, the two of you will fight with all your strength, especially Gohan you. Broly's fighting power is far beyond you. If you don't go all out, you won't have any resistance. Yes, Uncle Bupper. After agreeing, Son Gohan no longer hesitated, looked at Broly and said, Uncle Broly, then I'll start. Saying that, Son Gohan stepped forward, clenching his fists and shouting, ha! In the next second, Son Gohan's whole body jumped with lightning, and the whole person immediately entered the Super 2 full power. In an instant, Son Gohan's chi soared from 430 billion to 86 trillion. After all this was done, Son Gohan looked up at Broly and said, Uncle Broly, let's start. Nice power. Hearing this, Broly nodded. Immediately afterwards, Broly entered a state of anger as soon as his mind moved, and his combat power reached more than 5 trillion. With a low growl, Broly directly activated Super Saiyan 3 to transform, golden air gushing out all over his body, and his hair grew directly to his waist. In the next second, Broly's gas rapidly soared 400 times, directly reaching the level of 2,000 trillion. Sigh. Feeling the breath of Broly, Son Gohan couldn't help but gasped and lost his voice. Super Saiyan 3 ! 39 Uncle Broly, you actually completed the transformation of Super Saiyan 3. Also, hearing this, Broly raised his brows, his eyes fixed on Son Gohan and said, that is to say, you have also completed Super Saiyan 3. If that's the case, then let's show it directly. The current power has not yet allowed me to transform into a Super 2. Yes. Hearing this, Son Gohan nodded. He also knew that he had grown up. Originally, Broly's combat power was superior to him, not to mention that Quan Jiao 2's transformation increased his combat power by 1,000 times. Thinking of this, Son Gohan clenched his fists again and drank in a low voice, ha! In the next second, it can be seen that the chi around Son Gohan is violent, and the whole person also enters the form of Super Saiyan 3. In an instant, Son Gohan's chi soared rapidly, from 86 trillion to 170 trillion. Not bad. 39 Good. 100 Seeing this, Bupper nodded in satisfaction. Son Gohan's improvement is huge, and he already has 170 trillion combat power. Although the Super 3 full power has not been completed, it is still enough to be proud of, and if he is given a little time to grow, Son Gohan's strength is bound to reach a more terrifying level. But that's all. Son Gohan is no match for Broly yet. Although the same Super 3 form, but Broly is a super pass after all. Just the state of anger makes the two sides fight 10 times. Thinking of this, Bupper looked at the two arguing in the arena, and immediately said, Broly, let go of your anger and fight Son Gohan. 5 Yes. Hearing this, Broly nodded. As soon as his mind moved, his figure returned to its original shape, and the original 2,000 trillion battle power also returned to the level of 200 trillion at this moment. Although it is also much stronger than Son Gohan, it is not as desperate as before. Son Gohan, come on. After doing all this, Broly turned his eyes to Son Gohan, and said with full of fighting intent, yes. As soon as he agreed, Son Gohan no longer hesitated, and immediately jumped out and attacked Broly. The next second, Son Gohan's figure appeared beside Broly, punching straight to the point. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, where you can find advanced audiobooks that hasn't been uploaded on YouTube till now. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.